Hey Dab,
Hi, Nadine.
how are you doing?
Really good, thank you. It's Monday
Oh,
morning.
it is. It's Monday morning, isn't it? I mean, I wonder what kind of weekends everybody has had. I mean, I hope they've been filled with something to look forward to. I always say that, when we start our weekends, let's have at least one thing that we're looking forward to. And I'm just trying to think, what was my thing to look forward to this weekend? Um, Sleep, I think. I wanted some rest. So I always have my days off on a Saturday. So that was really great to have.
Yeah.
What did you look forward to this weekend?
I'm quite busy at the moment, but I've just moved house to Highbury.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, so we're setting lots of new things up in the house, and
Yeah.
uh, I'm I'm almost embarrassed to say that the Christmas tree has gone up.
Yes! I love it. I love it. I love it. I haven't got mine yet. So I'm so gel. I'm so
It
happy that
is the 30th of November,
I
but
love
just
it.
about gets it.
Oh my God. So how did we first met, didn't we? Like through, which was called London Music Masters at the time, but is now called Music Masters.
hmm
Um, and we first met when I became an ambassador of Music Masters. And, you were like my chief liaison, you know, and just like, really giving me such an informative way of looking into the work of Music Masters and being really supportive on the workshops and stuff. So thank you so much for that, because you were always a wonderful face that I could trust to see. And, I always knew that you knew exactly what you were going to be doing, and, and blah, 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 blah. And then but on top of that, there was always space to
Yeah.
like, so that's that.
Absolutely. It was a time where we could actually move around from school to school and do stuff. So
I know. Oh my gosh. Oh, we must talk about that later, like how you are kind of dealing with that, because that would be really good for everybody to kind of get a handle on as well. So we have people joining us. We've got Linda. Good morning, Linda. And we've actually got Music Masters. Hi. So hi, I am Nadine Benjamin, and I am a certified high performance coach. I'm also an NLP mind coach, a certified NLP mind coach. That is neuro, the brain, linguistic, how we speak to the brain, programming, the patterns or paradigms that we build up in the brain that we can have to serve us or to not serve us. So what I would do is kind of work with those limiting beliefs so you can work through to limitless beliefs. I love, 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 love connecting, championing, and celebrating people. And today we are celebrating Dav Evans and Music Masters. So, originally from the West, from the rural Wales, Dav, which is short for David, yeah, decided age 13 he wanted to play the piano. After a mad dash towards grade eight in 4 years in order to gain a place studying music at Cardiff University, he graduated with a BMus in 2012. He has worked for a number of South Wales arts education and young people's programs, including It's My Shout productions, where he managed the Wales-wide film and television production work placement and training program as part of an annual series of short films made for BBC Wales and S4C. Moving to London in 2014, he then coordinated the national training programme for teachers and arts practitioners, delivering arts awards. Deciding to get back into music, Dav has worked with the education charity Music Masters since 2016. At Music Masters, he takes the lead on a number of areas: events, performances, and projects for their young violinists and cellists, their Champions program for graduates aged 11 to 18, their partnerships with artists and ambassadors. And most keenly, he heads their work engaging with youth and child's voice. This last one for him is the most important and something that ties all of the other areas of work together. His drive is always about working with young people to develop varied skills and instilling the confidence in them to use those skills in new ways in the future. Oh, wow, that's lovely. Really gorgeous way of putting that. So as I say to everybody, please, 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 we're on a new week. You're coming out of a weekend. Do your best this week to stay in connection. stay in connection by picking up the phone, staying in connection by asking for help. If you know somebody who is not able to do that for themselves, please pick up the phone and say, are you okay? Can I do anything to support you? Would you like me to come round and say hello from the doorstep? Actually, I did that this weekend with a couple of friends. We all went round and saw some other friends and stood at the doorstep and went, hi, we're here. And it's amazing, you know, what that type of connection can do for people. So just, you know, have that in mind. And remember, do not be afraid to ask for help. Do not be afraid to ask for support. Do not be afraid to go to an organisation. There are so many organisations at the moment that are there to serve you. There is something for everybody. Please, 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 please get the support you need. Thank you so much. And as always, Dav and I are not medical professionals, or, you know, we're just here for you to be in connection, to find out, and to and have a new way maybe of seeing things. So, hey, Dav. Nice to have you here. So, you are a musician, which is wonderful to hear, and you play the piano. You know, please tell us, how did that all start?
Yeah, it's kind of funny because in my biog, I use the word decided to start playing at age 13, but I'm actually not sure if it was my decision or if it was somebody else's decision. Now I think about it, I guess I was a bit of a shy child, and I was a hard worker, and I really got on with school. And my school wasn't the best school, but it did have a music department that really wanted to be great and challenge kids, I think. And so, yeah, I kind of slowly got into it. And when I was 13, I remember, because I used to go to church with my parents, and one day they just suggested, I think, learning the piano with the church organist.
Wow.
And it kind of just happened. I was kind of like, okay, maybe I'll do that. And I just remember doing it. And, you know, I wasn't learning, it sounds terrible to say, with somebody who was, you know, conservatoire trained, like high starsy sort of teacher. I was just learning with the church organist. But she did, I remember just learning lots of different pieces and repertoire, playing lots of jazz and things that were just like, you know, things that I wanted to try out. So yeah, I just sort of fell into piano, and then the more I played it and the more I got on with music in school, the more I was like, oh, this is actually something I really like to do, and maybe this is a sort of route into the future. So hence the mad dash to grade 8, so I could escape Pembrokeshire to Cardiff and go to university.
Isn't that amazing? Oh, this sound has gone funny, hasn't it?
Oh, I can hear you.
Okay. I can hear a double of me, so I hope everybody else isn't hearing a double of me.
I can't.
So,
just the one and only.
I might just see if I take these out. If it makes any difference. How does that sound now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so I might take those out because it might be just that the headphones have gone a bit funny. So isn't that amazing that you just needed one connector in terms of you making it to the piano? It was an organist of a church, and she was there, and she was willing, you know, she was really, really willing to just be with you and to take you through that journey into music. And, you know, and it entered you into a world that has brought you this far.
Yeah, absolutely. I do think about it sometimes because it's kind of it's one of those things, isn't it, that just one thing falls in place after another, and you can't quite foresee the way it's going to happen. Like, I don't think I ever really, as a young kid, thought I'm going to live in London one day. Although I think lots of people do think that, but here I am.
But tell us, how did you kind of get involved in education? How did that happen?
Yeah, so when I was in university, all up before university, I was a really kind of high achiever, really wanted to be academic and just tried really hard. And then I went to university, and it's not that I didn't try hard, but I kind of, let's just say I had a good social life in university.
Yeah,
and,
yes, as many do.
I think I got a little bit distracted, and so throughout uni, I was, you know, just making my way through. And then I remember getting to the end of university and thinking, oh, I haven't really thought this far. I haven't really questioned where I want to go with it. All I knew was I really liked music and I wanted to explore it a bit more. So when I graduated, I also knew I didn't want to go back home because I wanted to be independent. I wanted to be, like financially independent, make my own decisions, and sort of live my own life for like multiple reasons. And yeah, so I thought the only thing I can really do at the moment is just volunteer loads.
Wow.
So I just volunteered at all these different events. I interned at this place called Welsh Music Foundation that supported Welsh artists and Welsh music. I just did loads of. There was like Welsh music festivals that I was just stewarding at the doors, like taking tickets, handing out wristbands and that sort of thing. And I was just refusing to go back home, basically, to Pembrokeshire. And so anyway, one thing led to another, and I eventually started volunteering at more education-oriented stuff. And then I got my first job, minimum wage, supporting this new sort of startup. I'm doing like all the admin and marketing for this company that did small music education workshops. They like visit places and do the workshops and have like individuals sign up to them, like teenagers. And I just remember thinking like, oh, this is actually something that kind of makes sense for me to be in. So where I'm working, not in a voluntary, I'm actually getting paid for this, but it's something that means something to someone. So yeah, and then gradually, I guess, I just started working at different places. I worked at It's My Shout, which was more about film and television, and then Arts Award when I eventually moved to London, where all my friends were. I think I just wanted to work at places that were meaningful and were doing things for people that, weren't just profit making or thinking about how I was going to get a salary at the end of the week and live for the weekend. I just really didn't like that idea.
Yeah.
So I think education was just a natural route for me to go into. Yeah.
I kind of love the fact that you were willing to volunteer. When I mentor people, I always say to people, don't look for what you can take, look for what you can give. Because in looking to what you can give and how you can support and how you contribute, you find your thing. Like go to your local church and set up a free concert, like meet the people who are going to maybe walk along with you in your journey. And I'm sure all the places that you've volunteered at, you actually can go back to them at different points along your career and kind of check in and, and they'd love to hear where you are,
I'm a like massive believer that you shouldn't rely solely on your education. Like you should grasp your education and access it. People should have access to that, but it is about experience. And the more you develop varied experiences, that's what's going to support you in your life to try new things and to get where you want to get. And volunteering is just the perfect way to do it because everyone wants volunteers and you just can get to deliver. You can provide the skills that you want to provide, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially over Christmas time, that's going to be really interesting about how volunteering is going to evolve, I suppose, in terms of, how we're all operating. That'd be a really interesting conversation to have with someone. I might do that. So tell us, we're here to talk about Music Master. And I love Music Masters. I mean, I'm an ambassador of Music Masters simply because, the ethos of what you all do just really speaks to my heart. If I was a child now, I would be one of the children. I would have been one of the children that you served. And I always think to myself, like if you've got someone kind of highlighting or pinpointing new ways to learn, especially because it's the violin, that how can they then bring that down into later life? And I think I do remember being at school actually, and this has just come to me. I do remember being at school and being given one violin lesson. And I don't know why that was, but I do remember being given one violin lesson. And, and it's even picking up an instrument and being allowed and having permission to have a relationship with an instrument is such a privilege and such an honor as a child. Even if you play all the notes wrong, it doesn't matter. you know, it's a new world, a new door that you're entering into that you would never ever have the chance to have access to if someone like Music Masters or an organisation like Music Masters wasn't there. But you know, that's just my take on it. But I would love to hear you know how it started, you know, where it got to and where it's changed to now, and blah 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 blah. If you could, like, kind of, and anybody, if you've got any questions as we go along, please ask questions, and Dab will do his best to answer them as much as he can. And yeah, but let's take us on this Music Masters journey.
Yeah, of course. I'd be happy to. So we are a music education charity. We started back in 2007, but our work itself began in schools in 2008. And it was founded by Victoria Roby.
She's amazing!
Who is amazing.
I mean, that's female leadership in, like, you know, in its biggest form, from the most humblest of women. I mean, it's just, yeah. I mean, that's a masterclass, I have to say.
Yeah. No, Victoria's fantastic, and she's still very much involved in what we do. And interestingly, I'm actually her buddy on the trustee board for Music Masters, so we get to catch up a lot. But yeah, so she founded it with working with Itzhak Rashkovsky to set up this program. And the idea was that the intervention in a high quality music education needs to start young. It needs to start with kids at school starter age. So that was the fundamentals of what Music Masters, or London Music Masters was, as it was back then.
Yeah.
So we began in a couple of schools, which have since grown to 5 schools that we work in, delivering violin and cello lessons.
Oh, it's cello as well. I didn't realise. I thought
Yeah.
it was violin.
Cello is a fairly recent addition within the last sort of 5 years. And now is only catching up with our violin program. Of course, we have lots of older students. So we have 5 schools now. And we deliver those violin, cello lessons as group lessons, individual lessons, and musicianship program alongside it. Our students get to develop a relationship with their teacher all the way through primary school. And we also allow them to explore their creativity and other musical skills through performances and creative projects. We bring in artists and ambassadors like yourself into school to inspire them. And really develop them into well-rounded musicians. And that was the main aim of London Music Masters for some time, as well as our work with our artists through our awards programme. But over the last few years, we've kind of changed our mission a little bit. It's developed. And it's developed through our growing understanding of what the music industry and the music education landscape needs. So we've now been able to develop best practice in music teaching in schools. And it's now time we start shouting about that, basically. So our mission has developed to more of a advocacy approach and a training approach. So rather than us going into loads of schools and delivering our program, we're actually now we're training teachers to do it themselves. So we've got a course called Team Teach. It's a PGCEI in group instrumental learning. It's in its 2nd year, and the aim is to standardise a high quality approach to instrumental teaching in primary schools and bring people on board who share our ethos of an inclusive approach to music making and delivering that in all of our communities so that we can ensure that no one's underrepresented in classical music or faces any access challenge to getting that training. So that's our main thing, as well as our advocacy work, which is, like I say, shouting about how important that is for our young people, all of the benefits that music making can bring young people, schools, communities and their families, and the change that we want to see in our music industry to make it a diverse, creative and innovative place that welcomes everyone, basically.
That's fantastic. I mean, can you do it from a child's perspective now? So you've got this young child and they've come into they're at primary school. How do they actually just take us on one child's journey who develops through Music Masters. Like, you've got a wonderful young lady now going to be auditioning for one of the big colleges, haven't you?
Yeah, absolutely. It's something that has really taken focus actually in the last few years, is that route of the individual. And it's because our program is a little bit, not strange, unique, in that we work with children from age 5 and we're still working with them now when they're 18. And when they're 25, 30, who knows, hopefully we'll still be working with them then. So really,
they'll come back and mentor.
Sorry?
They'll come back and mentor.
I hope so. It's remarkable how sort of lifelong our companionship is with our students and their families. It just doesn't really happen that often, It doesn't even happen in school because they change schools.
Exactly.
But yeah, if you're an individual on our program, you'll start primary school age 5. You'll have access to whole class musicianship in your first year of school. And then in year 1 or year 2, you might pick up a violin or a cello. And you'll meet your teacher, you'll have group lessons with your friends, and you'll start to learn about how to make music through that instrument. And then as you get older throughout primary school, year 3, year 4, year 5, you start having individual lessons. So you're developing a real keen relationship with your teacher and your music. And we often see around year 3, year 4, that's when the children start to go, actually, I really like this, or actually, this isn't for me, but actually, maybe I can explore this. And that's when we have to really be listening to our children, where they want to go and what they enjoy and what skills and interests they have. And then what happens is, as they make their way through primary school, we try to give them a little bit more accountability and responsibility on their instrument. That will happen through their own practice at home, which obviously will need to eventually be their own responsibility. And also thinking about where they're going to go into secondary school. Like if they want to explore music in lots of different ways, or go to a conservatoire or gain a scholarship to a school, then it has to start to be something that they own properly. And in year 6, we have a program that starts called Champions. And Champions is my little baby. And it's what's really important to me, because harking back to that, I guess, the comment on education and experience, for me, your experiences in music is what motivates you to continue and to develop your interest in other ways. And as useful as it is to have an ABRSM grade 5 when you leave primary school, which some of our students do, it's not the be all and end all. And so in year 6, we start this program called Champions, and they have teaching experiences where they come and support younger students. They have public speaking workshops and events design workshops for their graduation at the end of the year. And they also, for the first time this year, will join us in a forum discussions throughout the year to help us on our program and to change its impact and to change the way that we work with them as delivery partners.
That's amazing. So basically, well, from my perspective looking in, hi Marjorie, nice to see you. From my perspective looking in, what you're actually doing is creating leaders. I mean, we're all leaders anyway, but you're giving them a framework in which to reference through an instrument. That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you know what's really important is our school's program technically finishes in year 6, because we say goodbye to our students as they go to secondary school. But actually, that is the most important part for their work with us and everything that happens after that. So our graduates continue to learn with us. And the whole point of that is we develop their skills in advocacy for talking about music and the importance of it in our schools, for developing all those well-rounded skills that will make them leaders and contributors to society. And really, the long-term route is they start age 5 picking up that instrument, but then eventually they turn 18, 19, and they start coming into that music industry that we have. questioning why all these things exist within that industry, bringing creative ideas that have been completely underrepresented and not even listened to in previous years, changing the face of it, making it a more diverse and innovative place. And that's the main aim. And I was saying to our CEO, Roz, the other day, that I feel like our aim is that we want music to impact on our young people so that our young people can then impact on music.
Yes.
That's the cyclical change that we want to see in our industry.
Yeah, I mean, I do feel that because you mentioned in the Champions program, and I happened to sit in on one of those workshops, and I did love the fact that you gave them the autonomy to kind of think through things, what things we're going to lead to, what would be a great way for the audience to see this, what did they want to bring into the room, and I was speaking to Uchenna, she runs the Decos Ensemble the other day, and I was watching one of her workshops, and she talks about, rather than programming, we are curating, we're curating these pictures of how we want an audience and ourselves to be in relation around music. And I think when you empower these young people like this, when they leave then to go and curate or program their own programs, they have this sense of freedom and flow and confidence. That means then that they can speak to the wider picture of the music industry. I just think that it's rather incredible. I'm just going to say hi to Rod's here, and Linda's going, yes, yeah, very powerful, isn't it, Linda? I mean, I'm just like, it's wonderful that that they're taking on this journey, because one of the things, especially I'm going to speak from where I stand up mostly, is in the opera world. I have an issue with the fact that kids come out of school, or they leave a secondary school, they leave a conservatoire, and then there's just this massive gap where nobody's supported or held, or I mean, I'm an older singer that is a young singer, and then I fell into the gap, and I was like, oh my god, and there's no one in the gap, how do you get past the gap? It's like,
please mind the gap.
Exactly. So for me, it really fills my heart to know that you are always following this musician along their journey, and there needs to be more of that in other art forms, especially opera, as far as I'm concerned, that we're always walking, because those kids, those adults will then feed back into what has been created. And I think that's really important to hear those voices, and Will Harris is saying this is great. Yes, I agree. So in terms of advocacy, can you explain a little bit about what you mean by advocacy for music masters?
It's a bit of a tough one, because we kind of know ourselves, as most people do in their own brains, what you want to achieve and what you want to shout about. But the trick is not to preach to the choir, it's to talk to the people that really don't know, that don't, appreciate music, or ultimately the people that are policymakers even, that can make the change. So you really have to think about what advocacy is and how it can actually be useful and done properly. So for me, the best advocates are our young people. So I actually spend a lot of time talking to them about why music is important to them, what it means to them, where they want to go, what change they want to see, and then, understanding that they already have that voice. It's not that they don't have a voice. It's that nobody's given them the platform to speak. And so we give them the platform by literally connecting them with people, or supporting them with making events that advocate for the power of great music education, but also upskilling them in those things like how to, manage interviews, how to speak publicly, how to, structure what you want to say about music. And we use this tool, which I'm starting to use a lot now with our young people's campaign called Save Our Music. Sorry, hashtag Save Our Music, I should say. Called Head, Heart, Hands. So advocacy, how we want to explain it with our young people and to upskill them in how to do it, is head, what you know about the subject, what you know about the cause. Heart, why it matters. And hands, what you're going to do about it.
Love that!
Head, heart, hands. If you've got something that you really want to change or really care about, just think about your head, heart, hands, what it is you know about the cause, why it matters, and what you're going to do about it.
That's so visceral. I really feel that. You know, and that's something that, you know, we can all take away today and think about something that we're passionate about and kind of like go, you know, what do I know? Why does it matter? And what am I going to do about it? Especially in this time, you know, that we've been in this time of artists not knowing what they can do or how they can serve. That's three leading amazing questions. I love it.
Yeah, it's really hard to get out of your head sometimes. So we use that with our young people, and their advocacy campaigns like #SaveOurMusic, which is something that we're going to see more of this year. Watch this space. Is their way of shouting about how music has changed their lives. So it started a few years ago, Save Our Music, with our young people. They were around 15, 16 at the time, the oldest ones, and they worked with the younger ones to support them in this campaign. They created this flash mob that was a mashup of all these different styles and genres of music, all these pieces and songs. Some I'd never heard of because it was their music, and they created this flash mob with us, and they took it to the streets of London to shout about why music was important and why it should be saved in our schools. So they performed the flash mob in King's Cross Station, on the South Bank, and even in the Houses of Parliament, which was scary. I love that. That was us trying to get in with violin cases through the front door of the Houses of Parliament. The sort of like scary.
They won't get that in a hurry, will they? So Claire is just saying head, heart, hands, love it. And Fleming is also saying the same, head, heart, hands. You've got to do #head, heart, hands. I'm sorry. You know, because it is wonderful. That is a wonderful short little synopsis of like taking action. I love it. 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 And I love your stories about the violins and the flash mobs. It's just fantastic. Now, the other thing, what I want to bring home, because I think there is a lot of care that's taken in this organisation in Music Masters, a lot of care in how the young people develop. But the care is also with the people that run the organisation as well, isn't it? There's also an element of you guys upskilling and always training. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the best way to make impact is to train other people. And Music Masters, I mean, the whole reason we dropped the London in our name and became just Music Masters was because we want to scale up. So we want to go national and actually international in some ways.
Yeah, why not?
And, some things like unfortunately, the pandemic obviously has made people rethink the way that they work, but it has pushed people into, some challenging new ways of working. And for us, online delivery has actually been quite important for that growth. So with our Team Teach training course, last year we had 15 students, this year 22, hopefully more in the future. And we've spread our work across the country, so across through Wales and Scotland, and we even have a student in Germany.
Wow!
And the whole point is that actually we can go into these communities across the UK via these teachers, these individuals who share our ethos around inclusive music making, and they can deliver it to the same standard that we deliver in our schools.
Lovely.
So yeah, training is really important. Even internally, our own teachers, we have 3 teacher training days throughout the year. They observe each other in their own lessons. We're constantly talking and trying to better ourselves. We have the best teaching team in the world. They're so responsive and creative and imaginative. They're an absolute delight to work with. I can't complain or fault them. So we have these teachers in our schools who are able to demonstrate to other teachers and to other schools just what it means to deliver a powerful music education for young people. So they're our best tool and asset, and we just want to show them off in every way we can.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Marjorie is also saying, great principle, head, heart, hands throughout learning. Oh, and Music Masters has just done hashtag heart, hands. Good.
I see that.
That is going to be the quote of the day. I'm telling you, I'm going to teach that myself. So I would love also to link Music Masters with Marjorie Uvery. She is a master on play, actually, and has written loads of books on education and play. And I think that would be a very, very, very good link. Before that happens. Oh, wow, so much to talk about with you, but let's go to the tips. So if we want 3 ways that people can get involved with Music Masters in any way or support it, can you let us know?
Absolutely. So my first tip is very simple and hopefully very fun. Tomorrow we have our very special live stream event called A Christmas Journey. It's 7 p.m. on the Music Masters website, or it's on our Facebook page, and it features so many brilliant musicians of ours, our school group performances, and it even has a premiere from Daniel Cadane, who's worked with our Year 4 students. It features one of our champion students, who's now 17, turning 18 this year, who you mentioned earlier, is reaching for the stars, her dream is to go to Juilliard actually next year. So she's
my dream. I need to go to Juilliard. I wonder if they'll let me go for a month one day. I just want to go to Juilliard. I don't know why. Anyway, go ahead.
We should all have a chance to go, shouldn't we? Yeah. I want to head over to New York as well.
Yeah, exactly. Can you just give me is it musicmasters.org or UK Music Masters or Music Masters?
www.musicmasters.org.uk.
Okay, .org.uk. I just want to put it in the thing just so people can see.
That should be a really fun way to get to know us, see a few of our characters along the way. Some of our students have put in some really creative additions to this concert, so it's going to be really fun. And it's kicking off our Big Give campaign for the week as well.
Tell us. Oh yes, there is that Give campaign. Tell everybody about the Give campaign, because I totally believe in that. Give.
So our Big Give campaign is actually a brilliant opportunity to donate, even on a small level, because for a whole week from midday tomorrow, all donations made through the Big Give page on our website are going to be doubled. So even if you can donate £2 or £5, that becomes £4 or £10 when it all adds up. So it's a great time to donate, and we honestly appreciate the smallest donations.
Even if it's 50p. I mean, it's the act of giving, is also the act of love. It's also the act of tithing. It's also the act of circulation. And circulation, what we flow out, it comes back to us always. We don't give to expect that, but that's just the universal law of circulation. It just happens. So even if you've only got 50p and you want to help make a difference, don't feel that that's too small. If you've got £10,000, they would be happy to have that. And no problem at all. And if you wanted to make it 50 because you have it just sitting there in the bank with nothing to do, they would love that too. So give. No, really important. From the biggest contribution, as Dav has just said, to the smallest one. And even if you're a child and you're going, oh, but I want to make a contribution, and you've got 25 pence of your pocket money and you want to make a difference, the big give for Music Masters is saying we will accept that. We want you to feel like you can contribute to. There is space for everyone.
Yeah, certainly is. Thank you.
Yeah.
That is something to really look forward to tomorrow.
Yes.
And then my other tips are slightly less related to Music Masters so much as, well, they are a little bit. Everything in my life at the moment feels related to Music Masters. I'm so busy.
Yeah. Somebody's just saying that. Marjorie is just saying, we need to think of another word to use rather than delivery. It implies a one-way transmission, and that is not your mission.
Yeah, that's so true. And it is a real issue around words, because obviously with young people, when you are speaking words, they're learning those words in those contexts, and actually you're making them use those similar words in the future. One of the words that I always have a massive problem with is outreach.
Oh yeah, I can't stand outreach. I cannot stand it. Being a girl from a council estate in Brixton, I cannot stand the word outreach. I just cannot stand it.
It implies some sense of gratitude that someone needs to have for you, going out of your way.
Yeah. So I've cornered a new word. I've called it in reach, because it means that we're together, we're intimate, we're walking together.
Yeah.
So it's in reach. It's in reach for all of us. We're not going out. We're being inside. We're being, So that's the work that I want to create. I'm creating that at the moment. So,
I'm really interested in that idea, though, of delivery not being the right word. And often what I find myself saying, particularly when we're talking about our work with our young people, is using the term shared delivery and shared decision making. Yeah. But even that, it feels a little bit clunky, because it kind of implies you're attaching something on to delivery rather
Marjorie, if you got any suggestions, I'm a person, I love all solutions. I love the solutions. If you're gonna bring it into the room, give some solutions. What would you suggest? Would you suggest that there is what has been going through your thought process around that, Marjorie? It'd be really lovely to see what semantics you think would be important. And I agree with you, semantics is seriously important. I'm disabled in terms of severely dyspraxic, so sometimes when I say words, they definitely don't mean the same thing as somebody else. So for me, in terms of how I learn and how I access things, the way things are said are really, really, really important. Construction, co-creation as well. Co-creation, that's another one. Construction, building, I don't know. We'll see what happens. That will spark a conversation, I'm sure, within the Music Masters team.
Absolutely. And our communications and marketing office is going to be very pleased to see this discussion, because we've recently been talking a lot about our tone of voice and how important it is that everything you say reflects your ethos and mission.
I just love you guys.
If you want to know, we've got 3 words. Yeah. I'd like to hear Marjorie's take on these 3 words. 3 words that are the cornerstone of our tone of voice, and they are inspiring, supportive, and brave.
Love that. Inspire, support, and brave. Love that. Marjorie, what do you think? Was out to the table to you, Marjorie, and whoever else. Claire.
Public consultation.
Claire, you're there as well. What do you think? Instead of delivery, what could be another word? Linda, tell us. What do you think? We'd love bring it in while Dav tells us his number 2 tip.
Yes, my number 2 tip. And this comes back for me to our ethos around youth and child voice. And it's all about active listening. So we're always, knocking heads in the office, coming up with new ideas and things that we can do or achieve or run or whatever. But what we are often failing to do is listen to ideas that are initiated by our young people. We're trying to change that by consulting with our young people more, bringing them in as delivery partners, construction partners, co-creation partners.
Co-construction, co-construct. I didn't see the Marjorie, I'm so sorry. I just said construction. Construction. Sorry, Marjorie. Thank you. Co-construction,
Yeah, so it's all about actively listening and responding to young people's ideas initiated by them. And we all know that when people initiate their own ideas and you respond positively and help them and engage them in making that happen, the motivation is through the roof compared to when you just ask them to do something they're not interested in. And I think the more that we can do that with our young people, the more motivated they will be to continue to explore music in all its facets. And it's something that you can do with adults, with your family and friends. Just listen and respond to their ideas and find ways that they can be motivated and empowered to, deliver on their own thoughts and feelings.
Yeah.
But yeah, so actively listening.
And I love that, I love that thing around responding and reacting. It's really, if anybody's been feeling anxiety around this time, when my acupuncturist, he always says when the needle's going in, respond, don't react. Respond. And if you keep saying that in your head, it is really calming on the nervous system, and it makes you think, oh, well, if I was to respond to this rather than react, what would I do differently? So I love that, around the
active listening is all about being ready to listen, not just when the voice is saying that you hear the sound. It's being ready before it even comes,
and not just to others but to yourself.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah. Not just to your others, but Marjorie is saying, I love co-construction because it is not hierarchical. Love that, Marjorie. Music Masters is saying, we are loving these suggestions. Keep them coming. So what is your third tip?
My third tip is one that I really need to give myself. And it is to make a bit more time for the things that I enjoy doing. We've been so busy lately at Music Masters, and lots of projects going on, lots of events, just trying to make our lessons happen in the current circumstances is difficult enough. But I spend all week talking about the positive impact that music can have on people's lives, and my piano goes untouched for that entire time. And I would just like to spend more time just playing around and messing around and improvising and doing whatever I want on the piano. So my third tip is for myself and other people to just make time for those things that you really like to do.
So do you write songs, or what do you do, or do you play pieces, or do you compose? What do you do, Dav, on the piano?
Like a bit of everything. I like to practice and learn repertoire. I find that really satisfying. But I also like to just mess around. I also like to try and learn pieces that I really love and songs that I love. So I'm a massive Beyonce fan.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, and I love to play Beyonce. But it's one of those things that, pop music has this can often have really unusual rhythms in it that are quite hard to play on a piano or transfer onto a piano, especially with like bass lines and things that are just, quite syncopated. But so I like to do that a little bit, and I want to make more time for that specifically.
Okay, so I'm going to set you a challenge. You should never say things like that with me. I love it. So our last show is on because this week is the last week because we come out of lockdown this week, and then I'm going to do a 12 days before Christmas from the 14th to the 25th of December. So we're going to count down Christmas as it comes along. So some point during that week, I would love you to come and play one of the Beyonce pieces live while we're going ahead on the piano, and you can, even if it's just a minute, then you've made that choice, and you've got something to look forward to that's going to make you have to do a little bit for yourself every day.
That's really fun. You're saying me a new creative challenge every week, Nadine. I need you there every Monday morning, I think.
So that week, the 14th to the 25th, you choose, which day that is. And even if it's on Christmas Day and you want to do it on Christmas Day, because we'd love to have you, because we're going to be on here on Christmas Day in the morning. So, and you can come and play us in or play us out. We'd love that.
Amazing. I'm gonna have to think about that. I'll think of what I can play.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's just going to get your creative juices going. We all need coaches. We all need people to keep us accountable. We all need a mentor. We all need people that are going to bring us forward and cheer us on and champion us on. That's why you love the championship program so much, Dav. Is because you know how important it is. You know, we're all here as artists right now. You know, the more we can stand with each other, for each other, alongside each other, raise each other, elevate each other, you know, cheer each other on, you know, the more this process of where we're going through and what we're achieving at the moment and how we're sorting and processing and working out is going to be made easier.
Yeah.
Stand together, and as we stand together we are made stronger. You know, just it's so much fun. So you've got Ash is saying great final tip, Ros is saying yes, Anne Fleming is saying really want to see and hear that, Dav. Catherine Louise is saying well done, David Evans, and Marjorie Uvi is saying what a great guy doing amazing work. Exactly. Really amazing. So where can we find we've put Music Masters website in the chat there, but where can we find you?
So I've got a little bit of a baby Twitter going on. I think I've got 10 tweets so far. But yeah, my Twitter is a place to be, and if you want to hold me accountable to using that Twitter, then more followers the better.
Yeah, exactly. What is it? Is it DAF?
DAFYDD
YDD_EV, yeah?
Yeah, that's right.
There we go. So there's his Twitter. So, you know, get joining him, get in conversation to him, find out how much piano he's playing and what tune he's going to give us that week. You know, we want to hold him accountable to that. We've got to do that for each other. It makes it more fun. Dav, I have to say, you know, Music Masters, you know, for me is a love. However, I can really see how much you love the organisation that you work for. It is very easy to say that you work for an organisation and, you know, just be able to spiel off what they do, but you are actually living what Music Masters does. Every time I've given you a question, you haven't drawn breath about how to answer it. You are an amazing asset to Music Masters. They are lucky to have you, and you are lucky to have them. This co-construction, there you go, Marjorie. This co-construction of minds, yeah, it seems I can see is really empowering. I can see that you are a great leader. I can see that you're inspiring other great leaders. And, you know, they always say that a great organisation is how it's led at the top. And Veronica Roby, I am celebrating you. I don't know if you're listening to this or whether you'll hear this, but I just want you to know that your level of leadership is outstanding. And the way that you've been able to grow Music Masters and bring it out to the masses and now onto an international level, as Dav says. And not only what I love about this organisation as well is that you're all growing with the organisation. So everybody, I mean, Rob has moved to different places and everybody moves to a different kind of space, whether, you know, in where they're fitted the best. You know, and where they can be of the most service.
Yeah.
You know? And yeah, you've really taken us on an amazing journey today, Dav. And thank you so much for showing up. Thank you so much for your positivity.
And thank you.
Yeah, and everybody just join Music Masters. Do what you can for it. Donate. Give.
Yeah, 7 p.m. tomorrow, I say.
7 p.m. tomorrow. Go on the website. It's on the chat. You know, support the concert at 7 p.m. It would be really wonderful to have as many people as we can on there. And thank you so much for showing up. Tomorrow, I am going to have the pianist, the Emily Dickinson scholar, the Professor Nicole Panizza coming on tomorrow to talk to us about her life and her relationship to music. And so I can't wait for that. So I will look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. Take care, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Bye. Thanks, everybody, for being here.